You guys did in the UK, a couple top 20s, and then in other country top 40. So I think the album was called "Getting Having Your Own Supply." So you guys did
Yeah,
okay. I mean, you were touring and playing at all
yeah,
festival was pretty good, man.
yeah. No, it's been a very kind of fruitful and thorough 20, 25 years, 30 years or so.
Yeah,
And everybody's still kind of proactive. I'm working with Nocco at the moment on some of his projects, and the singer Mary Biker, and so we're all kind of still interacting with everybody, but we're not really focusing on maybe a new product at the moment. But who knows? Who knows what'll happen in the future? But it's certainly been a very it's a big part of my life anyway for the past 25, 30 years.
yeah.
So
And I noticed also on Spotify, Spotify is very difficult to make any money, and you need to have, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of hits to make any money. And I noticed that at least for Apollo, you guys have about 400,000 monthly listener. There is a couple, one Stop the Rock, the
yeah,
mix that has what 22 million.
right.
Uh,
Oh wow. Okay, I didn't know.
it's amazing. It's amazing. If
Yes.
it's it in Spotify for me is great because I pay like $10 a month or whatever, and I'm able to discover a lot of great bands. So I'm very fortunate. They always recommend me a new band. So I'm always looking for new music. From a musician point of view, you don't make any money. You need to be like a very, very famous guy to make, $20 out of Spotify, as opposed to Bandcamp, right? Where Bandcamp, they only take 10% or whatever. You sell your record for $10, you make nine, Spotify make 10. And so it's very good, man. Yeah, it's very good.
Yeah,
A
well,
lot of people complain about Spotify for that particular reason.
I mean, it's one of those bittersweet things, Spotify. I mean, there's a lot of arguments for and against it. I mean, I agree with you. I use Spotify to just find so much stuff that I've not heard of,
Yeah,
and then and create my playlists. But it's unless you're really at the top end
yeah,
of being a recording artist, i.e., no criticism to your Ed Sheerans or your Adeles,
yeah,
but I think the fan market and fan base is that digital native audience who unlike where we grow up buying records and CDs and cassettes and everything is based around these kind of engines and these kind of platforms,
yeah,
and and some of the arguments are should Spotify pay more royalties to
yeah,
their artists on there? But I think it's one of those things, we live with it. It's part and parcel of our, of who we are and our makeup. And who knows in the future what's going to happen with people making money out of Spotify.
yeah,
It is
yeah.
hard.
People are still. I'm old fashioned, so I still go to record shop, buy vinyl, buy CDs, buy a lot. But now the young people, they don't do that. They only want to download stuff and digital files, and they go to Bandcamp. They buy an album for $10, whatever, and they use the consume music in a digital format. And I suppose that's okay, but it's we changing times.
Yeah, yeah.
People,
No, it is.
yeah,
And I think we have to embrace those changing times.
yeah. You need to adapt. I mean, Spotify, maybe you wouldn't make any money on Spotify, but it's a great marketing tool that allow you to be exposed to music, like no different as Facebook, right? You
Yeah,
need to
exactly.
post and you do an interview, upload a new mix, and take picture with people. That's the way the world's work. Whether you need to adjust or you will not survive.
Yeah,
You know.
exactly.
In a couple of years from now will be another platform, another way and people will need to adjust and adjust and adjust. You need to go on where with the trends in technology are. And then after that, you end up joining Schiller, and
Yes,
that's
I mean,
I really like that band. It's of course I
yeah. I
know them,
mean,
but yeah, feel
yes,
free to
yes.
elaborate.
It was that was just by chance. In the early days, Christopher had his band together, which featured the legendary drummer Gary Wallace and an old colleague of mine, Christoph Pappendick, on keyboards. And I'd worked with Christoph with Jean-Michel Jarre in 1998. 2 shows: the closing of the World Cup ceremony in Paris, the Football World Cup, or as you guys say, the Soccer World Cup in 1980. Yeah. And then we did a 3D show later that year. And anyway, some years had passed, and then Christoph got in touch with me and said, look, we're looking to bring you in for Schiller. So both Gary and Christoph were off doing another tour. And kind of brought 3 separate musicians, myself, another German acoustic drummer called Ralf Guska, phenomenal guy, and another keyboard player called Christian Kretschmer. And only ever expected to do that one tour in 2006. But I ended up spending 12 years working with Christopher and drumming for him. Again, another extraordinary journey. Because that really allowed me to develop as an electronic drummer, soundscape artist. It was just a pleasure working with Christopher and his team for all that time. But only ever expecting to do one short tour in 2006. I was continued working with him until 2018. So yes, so many thanks for that. And again, a big part of my life, a big part of who I became. What an incredible journey. So yeah.
I never seen. I don't know if Schiller has played here in the United States, and I never seen them play live. And only if I go to YouTube, I'm able to listen to the show. But they're an unbelievable, great live band.
Yes.
And they don't have. I think they invite different singers depending on the tour and depending on the city. And very, very famous people have seen them. So people. It's a lot of very electronic. You playing drums and it's a lot of energy. You're jumping out, dancing for 2 hours. It's a great entertainment. It's a great place to.
Yes. And one of the great things I've always liked about Christopher's approach to his live shows, it's very visual with his lights.
Absolutely,
and his sound. For me, he was one of the first artists of his generation to introduce live surround sound facilities and capabilities to his shows.
Wow.
And that was, for the listener, an extraordinary kind of visual audio, extravaganza, and to be part of that was pretty special. Extraordinary times indeed.
Any way that you will, if you have a choice, will you go back to if Apollo does another album or Schiller, call you back to do something else? And do you take what it comes your way, or you want to go into
it really depends.
More engineering,
Yeah, that really depends. If the Apollo guys said we want to go in and make a new record, I'd be there straight away. And likewise with Christopher. After the last tour I did with Christopher, there was at that point then I decided, well, there's other things I need to do in life now, and this is a good time to do it. The phone was ringing, lots of other projects, my solo projects really needed to be finished or at least worked on again, because I was just so busy doing other things all the time. I never got around to doing other things that I really wanted to do. So I just made a concerted effort and choice to say, okay, at that point, I've got to stop because there are other opportunities I want to take. Because if I don't take them, it'll only be annoying me later on in life.
That's right.
And if the phone calls with Christopher, sure, I'd jump back with Christopher. I've been keeping an eye closely on his activities since then, and especially with the invitation of Thorsten performing with him. That was fantastic. I really wanted to be on that show, but there we go.
Yeah, feel free to elaborate on that as well. With that I don't know the detail, but everybody knows Tangerine Dream there in London, Germany, and in Europe, and you have the kind of opportunity that it didn't happen, and it's always been financial concern, and feel free to elaborate on that.
Yeah, because I'd met a few times. He introduced himself to me, and mainly on the Schiller tours. So we met a few times in Vienna at the time, in Berlin, and the invitation arose to see if I wanted to come on tour with Tangerine Dream. And of course, huge fan. And it was like, yes, I'd love to actually. But because of it was just, I think, the financial restrictions of going, because it was mainly going to America.
Yeah.
And
yeah, so you were mentioning the opportunity with Tangerine Dream to come here to the United States and play here?
Yes. No, it was the opportunity arose. The invitation came from Thorsten to come and meet the guys in London. And we were all kind of fairly excited about the prospect of me kind of picking up from where Iris had left. But it just never materialized, unfortunately. The idea was to take this whole thing to America and do the American tour over there, but for one reason or another, it didn't happen. But however, we stayed in touch, myself and Thorsten, and sadly we lost Enka shortly after. Very sad. And then over the last couple of years, Thorsten, I don't know whether you've been familiar with Behind Closed Doors.
Yeah. He does.
Yeah. So just at the start of the pandemic, Thorsten invited me to join forces with him. He was coming over to the UK, and we were going to do a live 2.5-3 hour improv set. But there was so much red tape with restrictions and travel at the time. It was just too much for Thorsten to think about. So we've put that on ice. When we met in Brighton recently, we've kind of, we've discussed that at some point in the not too distant future, we'll do that collaboration, and then who knows from there. But so although I've known Thorsten for many years, I haven't had the opportunity to work with him live yet. So that's one of my little dreams I'm holding on to at the moment, that eventually it will happen.
Yeah, I hope so, man. I would love to see you play live and playing that kind of music as well. But that's great, man. I hope it works out one day, man, to play with the with the Tangerine Dreams guy. Feel free to elaborate on the what you did with the Pet Shop Boys. That it's another band that I really like as well.
I mean, again, that was just quite by chance. The Pet Shop Boys have got a great programmer and an artist that works behind the scenes with them called Pete Gladall. And I was doing some live concerts with a Scottish dance band at the time called Milo. And we were doing a show in London, and Pete came to the show. And afterwards, I got a phone call saying, could you come down and work on the new Pet Shop Boys album at Storm Studios with Trevor Horn? You don't get many phone calls like that in life. So I went down, and there was a Roland V-drum system already set up there to go. So, and again, I just thought I was just in for the day. Here's my services, here's the track, blah, blah, blah. And after the first day of meeting the guys, who were absolutely lovely and gentlemen as well with it, Trevor invited me back in for the following week. He said, "Look, I've just got about 6 or 7 more tracks I'd like you to play on." And so we they had me back for the week, and that went really well. So yeah, so that's, although it's kind of brief, it's nice to be invited by the legendary producer Trevor Horn to come and work in one of the world's biggest acts on their album at the time. I think the album was called Fundamental.
Yeah, I think yeah.
And so that was nice to have on the CV, I have to say.
Yeah. Trevor Horn has been associated with so many great bands. One of them being, Propaganda, that I really like the music with Claudia Brukin, and then the other members there. Propaganda is a great band. I discovered that band later in life, and they release. They're in the process of release a new album. They are going to be doing one gig in London in May 24 or 25 or something like that. I remember that.
Okay.
And that's great music.
Well, maybe both of us should try and make that a date.
Yeah, I got myself a ticket already.
You have? Oh, well
yeah.
done.
So I end up pinging Claudia Brukin, and because I would like to. Of course, I never had the opportunity to see Propaganda at all, because they only were playing Europe. They were not coming to America, and so I end up, emailing her, and I end up getting a ticket, and I tried to scale some time with her to do an interview because I like the music, and there's very good stuff there, man. As I mentioned before, I have a wide range of stuff. The Pet Shop Boys are coming here with New Order in the fall, and there's so many bands. I need more time and more money, man, to do everything, man. I'm
we
getting
all need
old
more
now.
time and more money, Claudio.
Yeah.
We all need more time and more money.
Yeah, I wanna see. I'm the type of guy, Cliff, that I wanna one day. I don't know if I'm die when I'm 85 or whatever. I want to look back in my life and I say, man, I did everything that I want to do. I saw. I don't know. I have seen my life around 1,000 shows, and there's too many bands. They don't come here to United States, so I need to go to London or Germany and wherever and see them and see a lot of band, interview a lot of people. I want to do everything, and I don't want to look back and say, man, why I didn't talk to this guy? Why I didn't see a gig? I had money. Why I didn't take the time off work? No. I don't want to live like that. I want to do everything. I'm upbeat. I have the energy. I've never been depressed, or I want to do more things. I wish I had 40 hours in a day, to do more stuff.
I know that feeling entirely. Sometimes there are just not enough hours in the day to try and cover everything you want to cover. But I do love your enthusiasm, Claudio.
Yeah, so that's what you gotta live, right?
Yeah,
and plus I'm a fan of musician, and I buy a fan of music, but so many musicians got in trouble. They are famous and they do stupid stuff, and like the guy from the Foo Fighter, right? And died in Bogota a couple of weeks ago. He was doing stuff, and I don't know what he did. It's not like who I am to criticize him, but so many artists and musicians and famous people end up doing stupid stuff. They have so much money, they associated with the wrong people, they have access to women, to alcohol, to drugs, and if you're not straight, right, you were born a very nice guy, but the music business that industry is very tough, right? There's so much access to a lot of stuff. It's so easy to get in trouble. So if you have no clear, you will end up with your marriage or this or that,
Yeah, I mean, I've noticed in particular the culture of music and musicians have changed over the years. It's not the sex, drugs, and rock and roll it used to be back in the day. But you're right. It's sometimes you just go off the beaten path a little bit and thinking this will be all right, and it isn't, and it's a shame. We've only got one life. We should live it.
Yeah. No,
Oh, I think we're stuck again.
yeah, I think you're frozen, but I will. Hold on. Let me pause it. Go ahead. Yeah.
Obviously, because I live in such a remote area, and the weather isn't favourable today. I have very limited internet. However, we are just about to get fibre optics installed into the area.
Good for you, man.
We might be joining the 21st century very soon.
Finally, yeah. You were talking that many musicians, unfortunately, they end up going the wrong path, and
yes, it is what it is, and you make those choices, and unfortunately, this has happened to, one of the greatest drummers of the modern era, and it's very sad. It's very, very sad. And again, like yourself, don't want to go into the reasons behind it all, but it's just very sad to see somebody in the prime of their life, to leave us in this way. So, but there we go.
And I don't blame the artists. I mean, the Sex Pistols, the Billy Idol, Rolling Stone, they are so famous, and perhaps they end up starting life as a good people with value, with moral. But then down the road, bad influences and I don't know, women and alcohol and drugs, they have access to so much stuff that it's very easy to go the wrong way, if you will. It's I don't want to blame them. So much they make so much money that it's crazy.
I just think the spotlight that music has and musicians have. It's easier for these kind of situations to make the news. And the opportunities are easier. I still think that's very, much a situation today. But, in all walks of life, we can always take, we can go off the beaten track and make the wrong decisions. But,
or other band that, I don't know, maybe they need the money or they don't need the money, but they go on a road a year, right? How can you keep a marriage together if you don't see your kids for a year? It's kind of easy for me to complain who I am to criticize that, but it's very difficult to have like a normal life. You're on the road.
It is. I mean, for a touring musician, I've got a very forgiving wife. But we do have the opportunities. If I'm away for several months, we try and have the opportunities where I can fly her out, and just spend some time. But you kind of, they're decisions that you take on board very early on, and you either accept or you don't accept. As I said, fortunately, I've been in a good position where I can work away. It's part of my job, but still knowing that I have a wonderful house, wonderful wife, wonderful family.
Good for you. Yeah, good for you.
Support mechanism in there. But during the pandemic, it was payback time. So it was role reversal.
Feel free. I only have a couple questions left.
Okay.
Feel free to elaborate on your solo project and where you're working now.
Yeah.
It's important,
Well, the solo project, it kind of come into fruition last year. And I go under the guise of Sly Diva. I've done, over the years, mainly just remix work, just trying to find a kind of, an identity of who this person is. And then, during the pandemic, was able to just spend more time in developing that. So that culminated in my first release last year, which was an independent release through Bandcamp. With an excellent video that went with it. And then I've delayed the second single for a while now, and I've just been putting the finishing touches to the album, which will hopefully be out in the summer. So of course, I'll be letting everybody know on all various social media platforms and everything, and and we'll take it from there. But I'm just finishing off the second single now, done with a fellow from your own country who lives in Australia. He's Chilean he was born in Chile. Really? Wonderful guy called Waldo Garida, and a singer from a magnificent kind of ska band ska punk band from Brighton called the Barstool Preachers, Tom Not Fool. So we've just finished that, and we're just doing a treatment for the video at the moment for that. So as soon as that's done, there'll be new single, new video release, and then the album out hopefully later in the summer.
Good for you, man. Good for you. Looking back in your, no, we're here. Can you see me? Can you hear me? Let me start the recording. All right. So what I was asking before, you know, you have playing so many bands, so many great bands with great people. If you looking back in your career, what moment are special to you? Any regrets or things that you would have done differently, or?
Not really. One of the greatest treasures I'll always hold dearly to me is within my first band, Modern Eon, back in 1980. We became the opening act for Captain Beefheart and his Magic Band, and that was really special. Oh, I think we've lost you again.
No, yeah. Oh man. No, it's okay, man. Yeah, let's feel free to elaborate on that. Then we can do next week like a part 2 of this, because there's so many things that I want to talk to you about. So
yeah.
Plus on the weather, not just
one of my
the weather today there in the UK, right?
It's pretty bad today. It's rain and very overcast, very stormy here, and because I'm surrounded by ancient oak trees, it just makes life a little more difficult than normal. But we'll keep trying. We'll keep trying. Yes. So one of my fondest memories was supporting Captain Beefheart and his Magic Band in the early days. That was a kind of an introduction to rock and roll for me. Yeah. And so and the drummer they had at the time, Robert Johnson Jr., was just outrageous, absolutely outrageous. Another great moment was meeting the legendary producer and band Tackhead and Adrian Sherwood. Yeah. Keith LeBlanc has always been a big mentor of mine with his drum styles and things, and that was good. That was really good. And no, certainly I've not had any regrets. I've just been on this I'm grateful for this musical journey I've had over the past 40 years or so. And I still consider myself, very humble sometimes when people invite me to work with them or collaborate with them. It's nice to know that you're still regarded as, as a decent musician. But yes, it's always humbling, I have to say. And I'm grateful, very grateful.
Same here, man. And hopefully I'm glad that we met, and hopefully we'll see one another soon. And as I mentioned, I'm going to go to London next month again, and then maybe we can go to the propaganda gig together. I think it's the 24th, 25th, in a small venue. So you need to get your ticket soon, man. And I will
try my best.
Huh?
I'll look into it today. Yeah, I'll look into it today.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we will be agree. It was with the internet connection, I think it's good if we finish this interview and then we do like a part 2 again Cliff in a couple of weeks.
I'm happy with that.
And it was very nice talking to you. You're a great musician, man, a very nice person too. I'm glad we met, and say hello again to Torsten again, and we'll get together very soon, man.
Yes, for sure, Claudio. Yeah,
it was very nice talking to you, Cliff, man.
Yeah, thank you, mate. You too. Take care now.